over there. Coach Mazurski was in there, and the coach is so well organized, something that I'm not. You know, I said, well, this guy's going to Air Force, you can't talk to him. This guy's going here, you don't need to talk to him. Catterson, he's going to UNO, you don't need to talk to him. You know, so there was a couple left there, but so we finally got to talk. And the thing about Corey is he's a kid that wanted the ball in his hands. He was a quarterback in high school. He's a great quarterback. Probably could have been a great quarterback for Peru, but he wanted the ball in his hands. And we saw him as a receiver, and you know, the rest is history. He just one whale of a ball player. The biggest game I remember, and he's probably, this might not be a big one to him. We're out shattered, and that was always a big rivalry out there. We're down, end of the ball game. We need to make plays. We need to get the ball in the end zone. We need to do that. Film, I still got the film. I broke it down a number of times. He catches the ball in the middle of 5 guys. There's one guy that comes out of the pack, it's Corey Catterson. He goes down to about the 5-yard line. We go in and score and win the ball. And that's just the way they played. Tim Herman, you know, that was just luck. I got to tell you, the recruiting stale on him, Timmy. We're checking in one day, and Corey came up to me, and Corey Lynn came up and asked me, he said, "You talking to Herman?" I said, "Well, he's at Nebraska." He said, "They ain't going back." And I said, "Really?" You know, I said, "Well, I'm going to have a shot at Herman. But it's always worth a try." So I call over to the house, and his mother answers the phone, and we're sitting there talking, and she said, "Boy, he's getting a lot of calls. He's not here right now, but he's getting a lot of full ride offers on the phone and stuff." I said, "Well, let me see what I can do." You know, we didn't have full rides or anything at that time there, so I get off the phone. I call Jerry Joy. Jerry comes over. He says, I told him, I said, "Hey, I need some money. I think I can get Herman." "You can't get Herman." I think we can get Herman. So he said, "Well, we go to Galentine." He said, "I have some money left, but I didn't have enough." So we go to Galentine. "Yeah, you can't get him." I said, "Well, let's try." So that was Saturday. Sunday morning, I think we knock on the door about 8 o'clock with coffee and juice and donuts and rolls and breakfast and things like that. Coach Newman went with me, and we sat there for a long time, and in between he gets about 15 different calls from different schools and things like that. And that afternoon he was over playing for us, and you know, one of the greatest recruits we've ever had. He was pretty special individual, just a special boy and things like that. Did a great job. You know, this award, you know, is you know, I greatly appreciate it. Kind of stumbling now. It's greatly appreciated, but this is about kids. This is about players, and it's about assistant coaches. And head coach just kind of stands up there and watches everybody do their thing. And you know, I was fortunate here. We didn't have a lot of assistant coaches, full-time assistant coaches, or anything like that. But the guys that we had some very special ones. We really did. Our first defensive coordinator running was Dick Newman. Dick, would you stand here? Kids called him Sarge. He was a hard-nosed and defensive coordinator from Geneva. You know, he did a heck of a job. He instilled discipline in the kids and on defense and did a great job. We had another individual that came in and said, "Hey, Coach, I'd like to coach college ball." I said, "I got no money for you." He said, "Why?" He said, "We want to come back. We want to coach kids. Our kids are going to school here and stuff like that." And so I went up to Coach Joy, and we had a softball job open, and he got the softball job, and we found they found an internship position for him, working with internships, and did a good job. And that was Larry Brown, who came in here, who was a whale of a coach, and he started the softball program. Just did a tremendous job. And then we had 2 coaches that came in. We had Blake Faulkner that was here for a year, and he did a tremendous job for us. The year before, like Corey said, I was an option guy all my life, and I'd been studying to run and shoot and stuff like that. And that's what coaches don't. most coaches don't hunt and fish and different things like that. When they got some free time, they kind of study what other people are doing and things like that. That's what they enjoy doing. We studied the run and shoot. We go down and we play Missouri Valley. We get beaten a close ball game, had a chance to win the ball game. Our quarterback went down, Rod Olson. We had two quarterbacks that were not too bad athletes, but they couldn't throw the ball, or they couldn't run the ball, couldn't run the option. So we put in the run and shoot Sunday and Monday. Dave Bradley threw for 365 yards against Nebraska Wesleyan, and you know, I've been throwing the ball ever since. And so it was positive and stuff. They did good things, but we brought in Blake the next year because there wasn't enough. I didn't know enough, and Blake helped us expand that thing in '89 and did great things with it. And then he got an opportunity to move up, and that's what most of my assistants do. They get an opportunity to move up, bigger and better all the time. But that's great. But then we brought in Charlie Wade. Was here as an offensive coordinator, and Harold Wheeler as our defensive coordinator, and they were two gentlemen that for that national championship team that a lot of credit goes to the work that they did to help us get to the point where we were, and then the players. You know, we had some great kids, and we had some unselfish kids that did anything they could to help each other, and that was the beauty of this thing. I had a fullback from Auburn who came in here, and he busted his tail, worked his tail off all the time, hard, and he was never going to get on the field for us. He's never going to get on the field for us much. He wasn't going to play a lot, and everybody thought I was nuts, but I wouldn't ask him. I said, "Would you play nose guard for me?" And he went over and played. He's the most smallest defensive lineman that we played against the entire year. But Matt Hugg was one of the best defensive linemen we had. And when you put Hasley and Herman around him, you got Hanson, you got the 4 H's there. They didn't double team him, and they couldn't. He was too fast for most people. He had a whale of a career. He did a tremendous job for us. And then we had Mark Fritz, and Daryl Ring, and this is the kind of kids that we had back then. And Daryl Ring was a starting defensive end. They're watching film, and Daryl had a tendency. He's a great kid, very, very successful, but he had a tendency once in a while to if he didn't like what the coach said, he'd say something. Well, he said something at the wrong time. Mark Fish moves into defensive end. There's a kid that could have got upset, frustrated, mad, throwing the towel and everything like that. You talk to Mark Fritz, he has more respect for Dale Ring than any man on this planet. He took him under his wing, he helped him get better, and you know, Fritz ended up being a great, great defensive end for it. But if it wouldn't have been for Dale Ring, Mark Fritz will tell you today that it probably wouldn't have happened. And that's the kind of people that we had there. And when you have success, you forget about the teams when you start out. And you know, we started out, we were 3-7 the first year. I like to say we were 6-4 the second year, but I can't because we lost 2 ball games in one day. We found out that we were playing an ineligible player in the first game of the year. So we ended up having to forfeit that loss that first year. But I still say we were 6-4 because we beat them. But it was a situation where, you know, these kids back there set the tone for what was to come in our program. And, you know, they did a tremendous job. Brad Smith came in, transferred in. He was in South Dakota, and different place, came in and was an All-American tackle for us. And they did a tremendous job. We had Vic Williams, who was a fullback, little fullback out of Dodge City, Kansas, came in and played for us. We had Craig Stevens, a quarterback our first year, came in and played for us and did these things. And they sacrificed a lot of stuff. They didn't get a lot of the rewards that the kids did at the end, but they were the foundation that made us grow. One of the first kids I recruited was Corey Lynn. He was an MVP in the Shrine Bowl over there from Lincoln Southeast. Corey came in, was an unbelievable player for us, did a great job, great leader, as Steve Rasmussen was. And then we get a kid by the name of Bob Hansen, transferred in from Wyoming. He'd been at Nebraska as a freshman. They went scholarship him. He went to Wyoming, came back, wanted to come to my office and wanted to transfer here. And Bob, here you got a big time player, 6'3", 230, big time player. And here kind of kid he was. First year he's here, we had 2 senior linebackers, and he's better than both of them. And I said, Bob, I want you to feel this, but yeah, you can play both those linebackers, but I would appreciate it this year if you play down. Tell the linebacker to play down is kind of a dirty word for some of them. They don't like it. I think Bob led the conference in sacks and did it. He enjoyed doing it. And he did everything. It was all about the team, and that's extremely, extremely important. There's some people I want to thank before I close here. In Upper Iowa, a pretty special place. It's all about people here. It's all about people, not just in the school, not just the students, not just the coaches, but the faculty, the staff, and the community. We had, it's all about people that made a difference here. We had guys like Paul Cruz and Dr. Sherwood and Lyle McKercher and Dr. Davidson and things like that. And I go on and on and on and on. They all cared. They all cared about what was going on. And you don't see that anymore. It's an 8-to-5 job for a lot of people anymore. But here it's not. They care about what's going on, and that's important. And then you turn around in the community, we had the Joneses, and we had the Pews, we had the Williamses, and I can go on. And one that really stuck out to me and rest his soul was Daryl Rosenquist down at the grocery store. You go down, whatever you wanted, he'd come and get it done for you. Can you barbecue for me? Can you do this? Can you help me like that? He'd bend over backwards to help you. He was an alumnus. I think he played back in the 61s or some early 60s and things like that. Just an unbelievable guy. Unbelievable guy. And then we had administrators that went on to their way. Jerry Joy, an old football coach here, who had success when he was here as a coach. He turned the program around, went to a Boot Hill Bowl, and did great things here. And Jerry dies Bobcat Blue. He loves it. He loves it. And I came here as assistant coach my first year. The second year, Jerry gave me the opportunity to be the head coach. And it was funny. I signed probably the worst contract in the United States when I signed my contract here. Not the money part of it. That wasn't any good anyway back then. That wasn't the issue. When I signed my contract, I was sitting in there with our athletic director and Jerry and Dr. Galentine. And I got the contract, just one page. You sign it, you go to one. Now, I had an addendum to my contract. Seriously, I got this. I showed it to you. All these things that we want to do. We need better students. We need this. We need that. We need that. And about number 14 down there, it was, we expect to be 7-2 or 8-3 by your third season. It's written in the contract, I swear to God. And Dr. Galentine, to this day, I love it. I love it for him. I knew he had something with him when he said that, because he made the comment to me when he said that. I said, "What is this?" He said, "Tom," he said, "I'm tell you what. I'm the president of Peru State College." And I said, "I really don't know anything about football, and I don't care to learn a lot about football. But I do know one thing. I am the president of a university in the state of Nebraska. And if we want to be considered a good institution, we have to win at football here." And that was the comment that he said. All right, let's get after it. We were 6-4. I was worried about getting fired that year. We didn't make it. We didn't make it. But those guys were great. And then you got guys like Dwight Garman and Peggy Groff and financial aid working with people and people in the admissions office. They all work together to get things done. And then last but not least, I got to thank my family. I've got some of them here. Betsy, my oldest daughter, she's a teacher in Postville, Iowa. Raise your hand. All right. Peggy is my daughter. She's in West Union. Patrick, when we left here, he was not a year old yet, so you raise your hand. I've got my son is coaching at defensive coordinator at Gustavus Adolphus, St. Peter, Minnesota. And Wendy, my second daughter, is a law professor down at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then my pride and joy right there, stand up, little guy. That's my oldest grandson. That's Joy right there. He's pretty special.